Okay, here we're back in Legend Heroes, Trails to Azure, and it's time to take the quest involving the con man. Excuse us, you put in a request for the special support section. Hello there, Triple S. Can't tell you how glad I am that you're here to help with this again. Thank you very much for coming. Can you tell us what's happened since yesterday, Chief Tulta? I understand there was a new development in the case. Yes, that's correct. I fear the situation is more dire than we originally thought. I'd like to discuss in depth with you all right away. Would that be alright? Right now is fine. Please fill us in on the details. You mentioned the situation has changed since yesterday. That it has. Yesterday evening I went to the Ash Tree Inn in another attempt to persuade Derek. I told him that Minnith character was far too suspicious and that he had to break ties with him. You didn't beat around the bush then. Not for a second, but in the end Derek still refused to listen. However, I did learn something new. And so I hurried here to discuss this matter with Mr. Hayworth. Something new. Has Minnith taken some form of action? What Chief Tulta told me caught me off guard, if I may be frank. No, you're Harold. Get your name straight, man. Minnith's grip on the village is far tighter than we've given credit for. Would you mind elaborating? From what we learned yesterday, several villagers already trust him. Has it gone further than that? Well, you see, Minnith has not only secured the private property on Old America Road, but also the deeds to numerous plots and fields in the village itself. He what? As shocking as it is, one question comes to mind. How was he able to pull off something that big? Good question. From what we know, Minnith pitched a plan to increase Armorica's lotus production, as he puts it. By slowly accumulating deeds to the villagers' farmlands, he could expand the lotus fields and streamline their harvests. Moreover, management of the plots themselves would be contracted to the Quincy Company to reduce that required labor. That does line up with what we heard yesterday. At first blush, it sounds like a pretty good deal for the villagers. Yeah, too good to be true. As long as those deeds are in Minnith's hands, he can abuse the land in any way he wants. There'd be no coming back from that. Indeed, the man cannot be trusted by any means. Had he solely focused on that private property of ours, even the worst-case scenario wouldn't be too terrible. But now that he's using plots of land within the village, the results could be catastrophic. You guys might be shit out of luck when it comes to breaking that contract, though. That's where you come in. If you can expose him, then perhaps the contract can be voided. I know there's nothing criminal happening on the surface here, but even still, can we ask you to look into this? Well, the Triple S has never actually been all that beholden to CPD protocol. Our job is to support the citizens when they request it. You've given us enough reason to find men that's suspicious, so we'll gladly help. Thank you, Detective Bannings. All of you have been our village's guardian angels. Where shall we begin the investigation? I'm at a bit of a loss on that myself. Me too. It's not as if we have any smoking guns to look into. True. In that case, why not ask Ian for assistance? You mean Mr. Grimwood? Yes, granted, we've only been working on our suspicions at the moment. But if you explain the situation to Ian, he might be able to find a trace of something illicit in Minnith's actions. Sounds like a good idea. Even a shred of evidence against Minnith would be a good starting point for the investigation. I should warn you, though, Ian's been incredibly busy ever since the mayor advocated for our independence. There's no guarantee he'll have the time to see you. Only one way to find out, off to the Grimwood Law Office. Maybe we'll catch him, maybe we won't. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's go pay him a visit. We'll leave it to you then. I'll ask my business associates if they've heard any rumors about Minnith or the Quincy Company. We would appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. You're the only ones I can count on. I'm so powerless in all this. It's just pathetic of me. Don't worry, Chief Tulta. We'll handle it from here. You just sit tight and relax, and maybe pray to the goddess for good luck while you're at it. Very well. I'll be waiting for you. One born every Minnith started. I'm Derek's father in the village, Chief. I'm so powerless in all this. It's just pathetic of me. I beg you, please expose Minnith for the monster he is. This whole incident has Chief Tulta worried sick, but I suppose it's only natural. This involves not only his village, but his son as well. Still, too much stress can ruin your health. I'll do what I can to help keep him calm. It looks like Harold took off. Where's the brat at? There he is. We have honey. It's so sweet and yummy. Anyway, we'll talk to the people around here. Arkansas's revival debut is set for the day after tomorrow. Lucky I was able to get my hands on A-section seating, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Ah, here they are. Reggie may not look like much, but put him behind the wheel and he'll leave anyone in the dust. He's not the son of a Vern Company Orbital car designer for nothing. I don't think anyone's got as much of a handle on this car as you, Reggie. That's why we want to make you our go-to driver from now on. Sound good? Ah, you really think I'm that great? Alright, just leave it to me. Man, I love flirting down the highway. It's nothing but open roads out there, nothing at all like the city. Wheel's yours from here on out, Reggie. Show us what you can do. So they're signing him up for something. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen Yona. Let's see if he's still in town. I'm not going all the way through there for that. If Yona needs something he can write. So we saw them outside. I just wanted to see if there was like a book or something. But then again, there wasn't one when we came here last time, was there? Come on. My goodness, when did I get so drowsy? Just might end up taking a nap right where I'm sitting. I must prepare Master Henry a meal that will rejuvenate him after his long day of hard work. But what would be best, I wonder? How about lamb? It's high in protein yet low in calories, plus it has a wonderful flavor. I'm sure he'd love it. It's a good idea. You're very knowledgeable, my lady. Please, Joanna, you don't have to praise me over a simple meal suggestion. I've never had lamb, so I can't really comment on it. Master Henry has been preoccupied dealing with the ramifications of the independence proposal. He's meeting with Mayor Quad at Orcus Tower as we speak. Now, if only he could pay that much attention to his health. And that concludes that, so let's hop on over to West Street. Oh, Mr. Grimwood. We were afraid you might have been out of your office. Yes, I was in the middle of taking a much-needed break, but it would seem you're in desperate need of my counsel. Is it really that obvious? I've seen those looks on your faces coming through my door countless times by now. Please take a seat. I might be busy, but I'm happy to lend you an ear. Our apologies and thank you. Explain the Minnith situation. Collecting the deeds. Man, I'm surprised they all fit on those couches. I see, this is quite a predicament the village has found itself in. A case such as this would typically be a top priority for me. But as you know, I've been busy this past week drafting up a preliminary constitution for the mayor. I apologize, but I won't have time to handle this case personally. That's unfortunate, but we understand. We suspected that would be the case. Still, even just a consultation would be helpful. Very well, I'll give you any advice I can while you're here. We appreciate it, Mr. Grimwood. So, do you have any insight on this? At this point, there's no evidence of Minnith engaging in any unlawful activity, at least as far as we can tell. Is there something we're missing? I do have one idea. Damn, already? Possibly. An Erebonian contact of mine once provided me with some reference material for a very similar case. Though I can't say the circumstances are an exact match. Any lead that could help us with the investigation is a good one. If you think this case is worth if this other case is worth mentioning, we'd be happy to hear about it. Very well, I can hardly refuse you all. From what I can recall, several years ago, a man visited the estate of an Erebonian baron. He introduced himself as Rittner, an enterprising businessman working for a famous brewing company. Rittner presented the baron with an opportunity to become rich beyond his wildest dreams, and quickly at that. He proposed that the baron's barley fields, which had been passed down the family for generations, be used to establish a brewery. The facilities would be constructed on the barony, and his family would be responsible for managing them. That was the idea anyway. Hold on a second. What you're telling us is awfully reminiscent of what's going down in Armorica. The baron accepted the deal and signed Rittner's contract. Then, under the pretense of constructing the brewery, the fields on a portion of the baron's land were temporarily transferred to Rittner. Moreover, the baron converted his assets into capital for the sake of getting the business off the ground. However, Rittner soon disappeared with both the deeds and the capital, never to be seen again. The hell? The baron and his family suddenly panicked after suddenly losing contact with Rittner. At the time, they had no idea of the gravity of what was about to unfold. To their shock and surprise, they learned Rittner had sold the deeds to a third party. The land was to be repurposed into a villa resort. Today, it stands as part of a suburb instead. In the end, the baron's family racked up a substantial debt. Before long, they had lost their entire territory. With that, the family was stripped of their rank and they vanished without a trace. Damn, that's one hell of a story. That man conned them into giving up their property and sold it right into their noses. Who would even do such a thing? Your investigation immediately reminded me of that case. One person lies to another lies to earn another's trust, before running off with a large fortune. It's a common strategy for committing fraud. Fraud? If this case is the same, then Minnith may not be a Quincy Company employee at all. He would simply be a conman trying to swindle Armorica for all they're worth. Precisely, I can't say for certain that's the case here, but I'm concerned it might be. I agree, there are too many parallels between that story and our case. It'd be best if we shifted our focus to investigating this as a potential act of fraud. That changes the kind of leads we should be looking into. Exactly. As far as Minnith goes, there are two major areas that stand out to me as suspicious. First, that plan of his. We need to find out whether or not he's actually done anything to establish the Morgan Honey Company. You should probably figure that out by following the mirror trail. You have to apply for a bank loan to open a business in Crossbell. If it's all a sham, then we'll find all the evidence we need at the IBC. The other point of concern is whether Minnith's actually an employee of the Quincy Company. The Quincy Company's headquarters aren't in Crossbell, though, so that'll be a little tougher to ferret out. I may be able to help with that. You should try stopping by my grandfather's home. The McDowell estate, why? There should be a brochure about the Quincy Company there. It outlines how the company operates. Maybe you'll find some useful information. What's something like that doing in your Gramps' pad, Mademoiselle? Well, because I happen to enjoy making sweets, alright? I once took an interest in the Quincy Company, so I ordered one of their brochures. Last I recall, it was on a shelf in my old bedroom. Then again, I doubt a simple brochure would have all the information we need. I wouldn't be so quick to discount the possibility. It's official Quincy Company material. You might be able to find something that conflicts with what Minnith said. Never hurts to cover all your bases. Agreed. Let's drop by the McDowell estate too and see how it pans out. Thanks for all the invaluable advice, Mr. Grimwood. Because of you, we finally have some leads to chase down. Always happy to be of service. Just to confirm, you said you were using the Hayworth residence as a base of operations, yes? Yeah, we are. Very well, then I'll lend you my help with this case as long as time permits me. Though unfortunately I can't make any promises given my other responsibilities. It's not a problem at all, you already helped us immensely. It's nice having a professional in the neighborhood we can lean on. I'll try to meet up with you later at the Hayworths. Good luck with your investigation till then. Thanks, Mr. Grimwood. Okay, let's get this investigation underway. To start, we'll need to go to the IBC and look into Minnith's plan regarding the Armorican Honey Company. It'd be a good idea to swing by the McDowell estate for that brochure too. Something there might contradict Minnith's words. Give us a total of 2 leads to follow up on. Roger, we won't rest until we find that evidence. You can count on my help with this case for as long as my time allows, and about the rendezvous. So let's head on over to the McDowell estate first, because it's here. Would have been nice if we could have picked it up while we were here a second ago, but them's the breaks. Which one was her room? It's the other one. Let's see, here it is. This is the Quincy Company brochure I mentioned earlier. Dang, they even had this sucker bound. Can't say they didn't put any effort into this thing. They have ample resources to do so considering the size of the company. Whatever's written inside should be sufficiently credible. Then it's a good thing we stopped by for it. Alright, let's take a closer look inside. As a leader in confectionery manufacturing, the Quincy Company strives tirelessly towards its next innovation. This brochure aims to briefly introduce the methods and creeds that drive our passion. We believe the key aspect of any confectionery is its taste, otherwise how can anyone enjoy it? With this belief as a core tenet, the Quincy Company refuses to compromise on the quality of its products. Our factories are fitted with the latest equipment and operate with the utmost attention to hygiene. Here at the Quincy Company, we are particular not just about the quality of our ingredients, but where they are sourced as well. Our product development pipeline, too, is run with the strictest standards. Prototypes are personally sampled by our executives, who after many meetings decide whether their product is worthy to go to market. Only then can they reach the production line. This has been a Quincy Company tradition since its founding, such that we may deliver our valuable customers nothing less than the finest confectionaries to enjoy. It is this commitment to excellence that has made the Quincy Company the exceptional confectioner it is today. Not sure what we were expecting. It's all just your typical corporate double talk. Did anybody manage to find a contradiction between this and something Minnith said? Not in particular. Maybe coming here for this brochure was a waste of time after all. Actually, I did notice something. You did? Oh, I get it. You just activated the old detective mode and bam, right? Well, don't leave us hanging. What'd you find? If you remember what Minnith told us at the hotel yesterday, the answer is obvious. It was only a passing remark, but still comes into major conflict with what's written in this brochure. Enough to prove that he is, in fact, an employee of the Quincy Company to begin with. You got that much out of this one little pamphlet? That's right, you see, if Minnith... Sorry to cut you off, but where's the fun in spoiling it all now? What are you talking about? Well, if I'm being honest, it's annoying that you're the only one who figured it out. Just want to give the rest of us a chance to save for when we interrogate Minnith. Wazy, this is an investigation, not some game. I agree with Wazy, actually. Your hypothesis might be accurate, after all. As a precaution, we shouldn't let ourselves be swayed by a mere hunch. Not to mention, I didn't appreciate you stealing the spotlight with your detective mode, as Randy put it. Why do I get the feeling that second comment was the real reason she doesn't want me to share? Fine, if you two insist. Instead, I want you to consider everything we've learned so far. I'll summarize the main points of the brochure in the detective notebook. All that's left first is visit the IBC. Let's see what we can find out there. Lead the way. Basically, he does not have the executive approval or anything, so that's one of the clues that's a giveaway. There may be more to it. That was the thing that stood out most to me. Hello again, Triple S. What can I do for you today? I'd like to ask for the IBC's cooperation with the investigation we're working on. Would it be possible for you to do an account search for us, Lanfei? We're open to looking at some suspicious mirror transfers from a certain depositor. You want me to pull private information on one of our clients, then? Doing so is within company policy if it's related to a criminal inquiry. Would you mind telling me the details of the situation first? Not a problem. Let me provide all the information they had on the suspected fraud case. I see. I believe I understand the circumstances now. Will this be sufficiently probable cause for us to conduct a search? Cracking down on these kinds of things is in the bank's best interest too. Fraud would damage your reputation. You are correct, and this is related to a legitimate investigation. I can help, but you have to settle for me simply telling what I can. You have to settle for me simply telling you what I can pull up on my terminal screen here. That's more than enough, if you would please. Very well. Let me search for an account registered under the name Minnith. Our Morgan Honey Company, subsidiary of the Quincy Company. There we are. We do indeed have an account open under that name. Hold on. What happened? Did you find something incriminating? Well, I don't have the authority to tell you the exact balance on record, but I will say that the American Honey Company has no more than the minimum deposit in its account. What exactly does that mean? Basically, corporate accounts require an initial sum of capital to open. In this case, that base amount is all there is. From what you've told me, that would leave tens of thousands of mirror unaccounted for. Minnith has the construction of the factory, management of the fields, and more to cover. It is simply impossible for any minimum deposit to be capable of financing all of that. That much is clear. And despite him holding the titles to the land and signing several deeds, the balance hasn't changed a single time. It's suspicious to say the very least. By which I mean, this account appears to have been made for the sole purpose of gaining Derek's trust. Things clearly aren't adding up here in more ways than one. Yeah, this is just the kind of evidence we needed. We appreciate your cooperation, Lanfei. Not at all, I'm glad we could be of assistance. Should you ever require anything more, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll keep that in mind. Okay, we now have material on every suspicious aspect of Minnith and his plan. Let's make our way back to the Hayworth residence. Got it. Huh. So, I figured we would actually be going out to our Morka, but I guess we'll have to do that in this video still. Residential. And they threw us on that side. This one's Hayworth's. It's the Triple S. There you all are. Mr. Groner, I'm glad you can make it. Did you just get back yourself, Mr. Hayworth? Yes, I finished asking my business associates about the matter at hand. How do things go on your end? We were able to round up a few leads thanks to Mr. Grimwood. How about you, Mr. Hayworth? I did just the same in a manner of speaking. You see, I'm not quite sure what to make of it all. Well, you went through the trouble of digging up that info, so you may as well share it with the rest of the class. Agreed, the information may be beneficial to our investigation. I suppose you're right. I asked my business associates if the name Minnith rang any bells, having never heard it myself. What they informed me is that he's been making inquiries into a certain market since arriving in Crossbell. And what market would that be? Resorts? Land prices in various locations throughout Crossbell. Land prices? Sounds more like a real estate agent at this point. Why would a Quincy Company employee even need that kind of information? The answer to that might just be instrumental in helping us figure out Minnith's true objective here. You think so? It's certainly something worth considering. Incidentally, I may have discovered something else of note since we last saw each other. Harold, Chief Tolta, could I ask you to help me find something in my office? At your office, Ian. I don't mind, but is it important? Well, it isn't substantial enough to prove anything in and of itself, but we may be able to use it as a final nail in the coffin once you pin Minnith down. Really got something like that up your sleeve, Grizzly Grim? Possibly, but we may not make it in time, so please don't wait for us. You ought to get to our Morgan village as quickly as you can. If Minnith is the criminal we think he is, then his plan could very well be in its final stages as we speak. I'm confident, however, the evidence you have on hand will be enough for you to solve the case. Best of luck, Triple S. Got it. Thanks, Mr. Grimwood. Okay, guys, off to our Morka village. It's time to reveal Minnith's true colors and stop his phony deals dead in their tracks. Right. We need to get back in there. I didn't talk to them again. I'll drive Ian and Chief Tolta over to our Morka in my car once we're done. In the meantime, tread carefully, everyone. Don't let that Minnith get the best of you. I'll return to the village after helping Screw and find whatever it is he's looking for. Until then, I leave my son in your hands. Please do what you can to save Derek from himself. The evidence I'm searching for may surface final nail Minnith's coffin once we pin him down. That's a repeat. Off to the garage. To the Triple S Mobile. We'll hit up Tangram Gate and the boathouse on the way back. I hear Derek and Minnith's plan is almost ready to go. We'll just have to see what happens next. Gotta say, I'm looking forward to it. I don't understand these changes Derek's been pushing for the village. Granted, it's true that having orbital tools in the fields would make things easier. But the simple truth is I like fieldwork. I'm not sure how I feel about having my job taken over by machines. Very fitting for the time, don't you think? Damn it, did they already close the deal? U6 again. Special support section. Derek, Minnith. We have a few things we'd like to ask. What kind of agreements were you hoping to conduct today? Meddling in my affairs on my father's behalf again, are you? Please, Derek, there's no harm in answering their questions. After all, our plan has already been set into motion. And what do you mean by that? Right before you all arrived, Derek and I finished signing the requisite paperwork. In doing so, we have arranged to expand the operations of the Lotus Fields lent to me by the villagers. The Quincy Company will take over the management of the fields. What? You signed away the rights to almost all of the village's agriculture. Is this really what you want, Derek? What are you talking about? Nothing is changing. I'm only transferring management of the fields to him. Yes, of course. It's quite simple, really. With my company harvesting the honey, we'll be able to streamline production of the candy. A temporary transfer of land rights to my company is the necessary first step to facilitate the process. What a crafty bastard. His scheme has reached its final phase, which means... Now then, Derek, I'll be delivering this contract to our main office. We'll be in touch to come tomorrow. Look forward to good news. Sounds great. I'll be waiting. Lloyd? We can't let him get away. Before you go, Minnith, we have a few more questions. Oh? And what might they be? Well, for starters, are you aware of the allegations leveled against you? The primary of which, of course, is suspicion of fraud. What? That's absurd. How dare you insult Minnith like that? No, Derek, please calm yourself. Minnith? The special support section, was it? What could possibly make you suspect me of being a common criminal? Surely you have some manner of proof of your claim. That we do. Intriguing. Why don't you tell me all about it, then? But first, let me remind you that I am an Imperial citizen. If it turns out your allegations are indeed entirely baseless, I will do what I must to right that indignity, police officers though you may be. That's fine with us. Lloyd? Don't worry, Elliot. Let me handle this. Based on our investigation, there's no doubt in my mind that Minnith is guilty. I'm going to expose him as the fraud he is and show Derek the truth. How very glib. If that's how you want to play this, then go right ahead. I'll answer anything you like. Well, your first question? Right, about your actions in Crossbell. There's a contradiction between what you've said and what you've done. Could you please recount your actions for me? A contradiction? Very well. Since arriving in Crossbell, I've been cooperating with Derek to advance our plans. Said plan will result in the formation of the Armwork and Honey Company, a subsidiary of the Quincy Company. It will specialize in producing candy made from Armorca's high-quality honey. Combined with my company's acumen, it is a surefire success. The venture has already been approved by the city and is just about prepared to launch. Tell me, what is so contradictory about that? Well, everything. The plan is more like a charade from where I'm standing. Our investigation has uncovered a key discrepancy in what you said. You see, Minnith, that the plan is underway. The records we looked into at the IBC reveal your mistake. You say this plan is prepared to launch. In reality, it hasn't made any progress at all. The IBC? What are you talking about? Consider this. If the Quincy Company truly did intend to go through with this plan in Crossbell, it would need a loan from the IBC to fund the construction and development of the subsidiary. Yes, of course. I registered the company with the city and opened a corporate account. But that's as far as you went, isn't it? The account for the Armwork and Honey Company contained no more than the minimum balance required to open it. While we weren't told the exact amount, I would speculate it's only in the tens of thousands of Mira. Just how are you planning to build a factory and run a business with so little starting capital? You've looked into my IBC account? This can't be true, can it, Minnith? Please don't misunderstand, Derek. I never said there was any credence to their claims. I'm merely commenting on the audacity it takes to do something so invasive. Forget that. Explain why there's hardly any mirror in that account. Being an executive of the company, I must be especially judicious when moving money around. As such, I can't take out a loan on behalf of the Quincy Company. Of course, I'll be securing one from the IBC once I receive permission from the main office. Oh, makes perfect sense. A deft evasion. Don't count us out just yet. I can tell Minnith is getting frustrated. If we continue to press him and pile on the evidence, we can get him to crack. That look on your face tells me you have something more to ask. It just so happens that I do. That was far from your only point of contention about you, Minnith. You're still not satisfied? Don't let them rattle you, Derek. This will be a good opportunity for me to clear your mind of any and all doubt. Next, I'd like to ask about you, Minnith. You say that you're an executive of the Quincy Company, but is that really true? Wait, what are you implying? Are you trying to say that Minnith isn't associated with the Quincy Company at all? That's what our evidence points to. Oh, goodness me, I didn't expect you to say something so outlandish. How about I show you my business card and employee ID? Those articles could be easily forged. Regardless, we have evidence that would supersede either of those, and we found it in a Quincy Company informational brochure. An informational brochure? Oh yeah, the one in Mademoiselle's room. We recorded the main points in the detective notebook. The brochure comes directly from the Quincy Company's main office, so there's no doubt as to its authenticity. What's more, there's a clear discrepancy between its contents and what you told us yesterday. What I told you? That's right, something you mentioned made it clear to us that you aren't the executive you claim to be. Huh. Allow me to quote a statement you made yesterday. Despite working for the company, I've never been one for sweets. Do you deny this fact? Lloyd, how exactly is that relevant? That's right, I don't care for sweets. What of it? Are you trying to say that someone who dislikes sweets can possibly work for a confectionery company? A confectionery company in general, maybe, but not this one in particular. What are you on about? Who do you work for? The confectionery police department? This is what was written in the brochure. Prototypes are personally sampled by our executives, who after many meetings decide whether a product is worthy to go to market. Isn't that curious? What is that? Wait. It doesn't make sense that somebody like Minnith, who dislikes sweets, would be hired by a company like Quincy, not with a tradition like that. Wouldn't you agree? No, I mean, I never said I hated sweets. That's not going to work on us. You admitted to not liking them in this very conversation. How stupid do you think we are? So that raises the question, why would you lie about being an executive of the Quincy Company? It's simple. You intended to gain Derek's trust before ripping him off. This is the only deduction I can make based on the evidence. As for the confectioner seeking to make use of our Morca's honey, the Quincy Company is merely a name with weight to it, one that Minnith threw around as a show of credibility. Minnith, what is the meaning of this? You tricked me? Derek, don't allow yourself to be deceived by these scoundrels. What did you just call us? I mean, think about it for a second. Let's say for argument's sake that I did come to our Morca village for the purpose of founding a fraudulent honey company. If that being the case, I had an ulterior motive in deceiving my very good new friend Derek, then what was it? Why would I go to such ridiculous lengths? If you have no proof to back your claims, then you've no right to call me a fraud. You should arrest yourselves for slander. We do bear the burden of proof, as well as providing a viable motive. As far as the motive goes, I think I have a pretty good idea. What? Are you sure, Lloyd? I've barely even started untangling everything that's going on here. Don't worry, I've got this. The person who pointed us in the right direction today also went to retrieve the final piece of evidence we need. The last piece of the puzzle that'll oust Minnith once and for all. Quit with the mumbling. If you have something to say, then out with it. With pleasure. You went to all these lengths to deceive this village with one goal in mind. And if you remember, since we were told the story about the resort, he is looking for the land rights. Your true objective here is obtain the land rights to our Morca village itself. What? A trader we know named Harold Hayworth gave us some information about you. Immediately after arriving in Crossbell, you, Minnith, started looking into land prices throughout the state. If you were employed by the Quincy Company in search of new business ventures, this would make no sense. So why do it? I can only think of one possibility. Seizing land was your aim from the very start. It was? Of all the outrageous schemes. There's more to it. Our Morca village is surrounded by scenic beauty, making it a high-value location. Suppose the deeds were sold to a third party as a prime real estate for a villa resort. How much mira do you think they would go for? Land like this, I would estimate somewhere in the tens of millions of mira. That said, I don't think the villagers would ever agree to such an arrangement. Exactly. That's what made this whole fraudulent ruse, painstaking as it was, a necessity. Now, if we assume your motive was to obtain the land itself, your actions become that much more clear. First, you obtain the rights to the Lotus Fields, the farmland, and the village's private property. Then, under the pretext of returning to your company's main office, you vanish from Crossbill entirely. Finally, you sell the deeds on the black market and pocket the hefty sum of Mira they're worth. And that, Minnith, has been your plan the entire time. Minnith, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Lloyd. Is that? Thank goodness. Looks like we made it in time. Derek? Father, Mr. Hayworth. Aren't you from Mr. Grimwood's office? I'm his assistant, Pete. He would have come himself, but he had to get back to drafting the Constitution. Did you come with evidence? That we did. Ian said this would prove to be useful insurance. You're only going to want to take a look at this. Pete produced a photograph for everyone to see. It was a man who looked like a merchant with the same face as Minnith's. The man in this picture is... Why do you have this? A reporter Mr. Grimwood knew in the Empire gave this to him a long time ago. However, the name on the photo isn't Minnith. It's Rittner. Rittner? I feel like we heard that name recently. I remember. It's the name of the man who stole that Erebonian Baron's land, the one Mr. Grimwood told us about. Yeah, that dude. That's right, I asked Ian about it again, and he said there's no mistaking it. Well, this is a plot twist I wasn't expecting. Lloyd, why don't you do Minnith the honors? Tell him the only thing this photo can mean. With pleasure. The reason the man before us, Minnith, and the man in the photo, Rittner, look identical is... they're the same person. Minnith and Rittner are one and the same. That's the only explanation. And it's because they're the same person that their MOs are such a close match. Mr. Grimwood came to the same conclusion. This man must have swindling down to an exact orbital science. You're a crook, Minnith. As such, you'll be charged with attempted fraud. This is, of course, on top of the fraud you committed previously in Erebonia. I can only guess how many skeletons we'll find in your closet when we get done with you. I'd very much like to hear of all the details in the department's interrogation room. Damn you. I am a professional. My work must be flawless. You meddlesome brats. Minnith? Don't get too full of yourselves just yet. You may have won this time, but I won't be apprehended so easily. What? Come, my lovely beasts. What? Monsters? They appear to be well trained too. These cougars, don't freaking tell me. No. Derek. Chief Tulta, it's too dangerous. Do you have any idea what you're doing? I know precisely what I'm doing, hence why I'm doing it. Don't think for even a second about trying to fight me. That is, unless you don't value the lives of Derek and the villagers. Now step aside if you would. Fare thee well, for we shall never meet again. Derek. Damn it, we can't just let him escape. After him. Quick, high-speed chase. He managed to get away. I've never been so frustrated. I can't believe a spineless coward like him gave us a slip. At least none of the villagers were hurt. Let's look at the silver lining. What a mess. If we come across him again, he won't be so lucky. For now, though, let's regroup with Chief Tulta and the villagers so we can report what happened. That's a good idea. Can't thank you all enough for what you've done today. It's no exaggeration to say that you saved the village from the clutches of that con man. Though he still got away in the end. Yes, but now the department knows to keep a lookout for him. It should only be a matter of time before he's caught. Derek? I made a grave mistake, and I put everyone through so much trouble just so they could fix it. I let that man rope me into his scheme, and it nearly cost us all our livelihoods. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're not the one who's guilty. Wrong. It's my fault completely. No two ways about it. I was so desperate to fix and reform Ormorka that I ignored my father and almost drove it into the ground instead. I have no right to become the next village chief. That is where you're wrong. Father? I've been so stuck in the old ways, I never tried to hear your proposals for what they were. I know the village will go under if we maintain our current course, and yet I've done nothing. It is my inaction that drove you to this, thus I must bear a large share of the responsibility for letting it happen. That's very admirable, Chief Tulta. Thanks to this crisis, I finally realized where I went wrong. The welfare of this village cannot hinge entirely on the ideology of a single stubborn old man. So instead, Derek, I would ask that you provide me your input as well. We will each contribute our ideas and discuss them with the villagers. That is the only way we can ensure a future for Ormorka. You're right, I'm so sorry, Father. From here on out, I'm going to dedicate myself to the betterment of the village. I'm happy the two of you were able to reconcile. Same. Makes almost losing your whole village to some crook worth it, wouldn't you say? Put a sock in it, Wazy. Learn how to read a room. Really sorry about him, I swear we tried everything. At any rate, we owe you all an enormous debt, so allow me to express my thanks once more. I also owe my gratitude to Mr. Grimwood. It's a shame he couldn't be here. I'll pass your thanks on to Mr. Grimwood and let him know what happened. Even if I only played a minor role, I'm still glad I could be of assistance. I look forward to our continued partnership, Chief Tulta. Same to you, Harold. If you could, keep a lookout for Minnith, just in case he returns. And of course, you can always contact the Triple S if you need our assistance. Hopefully I'll never be for anything related to this ordeal again. We'll be sure to keep that in mind. One born every Minnith completed. Derek and his father finally reconcile. I can be more relieved. Thank you all so much for your help. Protecting the future of our Ormorka village. My son and I have been too close-minded towards each other's views to see that we share the same goal. This ordeal must have been the goddess's way of teaching us that. I was wrong to try and solve all the village's problems by myself. This whole mess has shown me just how flawed my judgment has been up till now. From here on, I need to work with my father and know the whole village to create a brighter future. Mr. Grumman has his hands full with drafting the Constitution, so he couldn't make it today. Luckily, it looks like everything worked out in the end. I'll pass Chief Tulta's thanks on to Mr. Grumman and let him know what happened. Thank you very much for your help, everyone. It's all because of you that Derek and Chief Tulta were finally able to make up. I knew turning to the Triple S was the right call to make. Well, we know where Derek is, so he's not up here. Turns out that Minnith fellow was a scoundrel. Even I got led up the garden path by his fake smile and courteous ways. Derek's got the worst of any of us, though. Hope the boy's not being too hard on himself. Can't believe Minnith released monsters in the middle of the village. Thank the goddess none of the children were hurt. Holy cow, did you see those cat things jump out of the van? It was so cool. Was that guy an animal trainer for a circus or something? Dang it, I should try to get his autograph. Those kitties were so big. Too bad they weren't cute. I knew that guy with the monocle was up to no good. Still can't believe he let all those monsters out, though. I thought for sure I was going to be eaten. When I glanced out the window, there were monsters out in the middle of the village. Stranger still, Minnith looked to be the one controlling them. So shocked my back gave out on me. Ouch, it hurts. Gramps threw on his back earlier. Hope he'll be alright. Maybe I should bring him a compressor or something for that. So yeah, it looks like all their dialogue changed anyway, but it's not too much of a loss, I think. Can't believe that Minnith. What a despicable man. You asked me there was something off with that guy from the get-go. If he ever shows his face around here again, I'm going to clobber him for sure. Everything Minnith said was a lie? That's quite upsetting. I can't imagine what Derek must be feeling right now. Minnith made swift work of what he knew of the village. I'll say one thing, he's got a keen eye for understanding what people really want. But in the end, he chose to use his talents for evil. A man like that is beyond help. Unbelievable. Minnith was a crook all along and I never put it together. The man's a master con artist through and through. And a low-down wretch at that. It's on the wireless now, so here's hoping they have him behind bars before long. I don't know if he made an appearance on Cold Steel or not. He may get caught in this game, so there won't be anything to have him in a future game for. Thank Adios, Stefan, and the others weren't attacked by those monsters. What that crook did was unforgivable. Turns out Minnith deceived us all. I never would have thought that someone so callous existed in all this world. Lesson learned. Well, I'll be tarred and feathered. Minnith was a swindler all along. Say, about this horrible truck I bought from him, what do I do with it now? If I remember right, you bought it for 50,000 mira while the market value is closer to 500,000. That is a bit of a problem. For the time being, it would probably be best if you turned it over to the police. Since it was sold and purchased through a legitimate transaction, it'll probably be given back to you in the end. True, though whether the truck is legal in the first place will still need to be investigated as well. Alright, I'll go ahead and contact the police then. So we're gonna hit Tangram Gate, the boathouse, and then there'll be a video. This one turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it would be. Crossbow pays an entire 10% of its tax revenue to the Empire and Republic combined. Independence will make Crossbow no longer beholden to that, significantly increasing our state budget. I wonder how much it would go toward fortifying the CGF in that scenario. The braces are searching here, there, and everywhere for those cryptids. They're a good fit for the job, too. Those guys are way more experienced with the areas off the beaten path than us. Good morning. There have been signs of unidentified monsters around the state recently. We urge you to exercise caution while driving on the highways. Thank you for the warning, I'll do that. Okay, can we talk to them individually, or... No, if you'll just sign these entry papers, you can be on your way, of course. For some reason, no cryptids have appeared on Tangram Hill. It would be problematic if we had to go into the buffer zone to exterminate a cryptid with the Republic right there. But it could still happen, so we gotta keep our guards up. Just let the Republic handle it. They could send out the Spriggans or something. When the situation becomes this dire, it doesn't feel as though there's much a simple cook like myself can do. At the very least, I need to keep preparing delicious food so our guardsmen can be at their best. Funny running into you here, Triple S. Scott and Winslow, I'm surprised to see you by the border. Are you headed to the Republic, or is there a crypt at Tangram Hill, maybe? Neither. If all those monsters that appear at Tangram Hill would fall into the CGF's jurisdiction. That's true, but in that case, what are you doing here? We were investigating the area off the East Crossbow Highway where you defeated the cryptid yesterday. If the paloma grass really is connected to those things appearing, we wanted to see if any more of it had bloomed nearby. I see. Does seem like a distinct possibility. Since you're bracers, you guys get into the back areas, we wouldn't be able to investigate. That's the thought. Leave this to us for now. I'm sure there are things that only you guys can do to help as well. Trade conference may be done, but we haven't gotten any less busy after the fact. I haven't been able to see my fiancée Pearl at all, and that's a misspelling right there. That's the masculine spelling of fiancé, and they don't have the acute mark over the E anyway. The girl who works at the department store, you mean? Unfortunately, you're going to need to stick this out. We're short-staffed as it is. When this is all over, you should ask Michelle for a day off. I can help cover for you if you need be. Thanks, Wenzel. I don't know what I'd do without you, partner. They say an old lady who works as a counterfeit dealer was arrested in Altair yesterday. To think she's so spry at her age, yet wasted on being a criminal in some ways. I pity her for that. If Crossbow becomes independent, the CGF will effectively become an army. I, for one, would welcome an upgrade to our equipment, not to mention our rations. The stuff we got now is just... Things have been so slow around here these days. It's supposed to rain again tomorrow, so maybe I'll read an Arkansas fan book to pass the time. Nothing there. It's hard to say whether the referendum will lead to Crossbow declaring independence, but given our current tensions with Erebony and Calvert, they'll almost certainly see it as a threat to the status quo. The local referendum is going to have a larger impact on our neighboring countries than most people realize. About that plant you found during your investigation, Plomagrass, I believe it was called. It was reported to be the key ingredient in Gnosis, correct? We've always known that drug was dangerous, but I never expected it would be linked to something like this. Weren't you at the police academy during the cult incident, Deputy Commander? That was the first place the CGF went for. That's right. We were completely blindsided when the brainwashing unit from Bellegarde attacked. In the end, the academy staff and I couldn't hold them back, and Ernest was sprung from the prison. We figured that was the case. To think, a simple flower caused not only what happened that night, but also the cryptid's emergence in our state. The latter, which is something that presents a clear and present danger to all crossbellons. And I think the only people left to talk to here are the guys on the roof. It's unclear whether Tangram Hill is crossbellon or Republican territory. For all intents and purposes, the Republic has control of it right now. But if Crossbow were to become independent, the disputes over that land might heat up. Despite how he looks, Deputy Commander Douglas is a fairly chill guy, mostly. I want to be like him someday. Maybe when you grow up. So we'll probably have to make this trip one more time in this chapter. I'm starting to remember the spiral staircase there. Boathouse.
よし行くかどこに行こうかなさあ行くぞよし着いたぞ
This way. Lloyd, what do you have there? This, I'm pretty sure it's part of a fishing set. Must have been a real beauty, too. Rare fish you caught from one of the spots the Elite Four Guardians spatted out. Well, your hunch is right. I think it's part of a fabled fishing set once used by a nomadic pro angler. As the story goes, he sealed away somewhere in these lands when he left Crossbell. Who would have thought he hid the pieces in the bellies of the very things he there built to catch? I didn't realize it was so legendary. What should we do then? Return it to its owner? No, absolutely not. The man himself said it's finder's keepers. That gear is yours now. Just so you know, Lloyd, there are 4 of those pieces in total. Come back and see me after you found the full set. I should be able to put it all together. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. All the times for a legendary fishing set to pop up again. This might just be destiny at work, Lloyd. Damn it, how many more tries will it take? Trying the Silver Orchid as one formidable foe. It's no surprise he's the head of the Elite Four. He's a world-class fisher, believe you me. And I think we got this one already. Yeah. Why can't I outfish the Dragon Princess? I must have challenged her about 1,000,000 times now. Is there something wrong with me? Am I just not cut out for this? So yeah, that is the end of this one. We still have the hidden quest in Mains and the package to deliver. So yeah, I'm going to take a break here. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching and goodbye.